Whew. Hello and welcome into the Rockies Now podcast. We are a Colorado Rockies podcast. This is the Rockies recap for game 2 of this 3-game series against the Seattle Mariners and game 21 of the season. This game took place at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. I am one of your co-hosts, Tom. Let's get into it. Folks, we have another walk-off victory. This came off the bat of Ryan McMahon, his second walk-off of the season. Boy, oh boy, this was a very, very interesting game. It had a lot of moments in it that were just strange, a lot of interesting plays. So let's get to it. As a talk, the Rockies walked this one off in the 10th inning by a score of 2-1. Let's get started. So let's start off by saying the pitching. We were treated to a rare pitchers duel at Coors Field today. It was, of course, George Kirby on the hill for the Seattle Mariners. He went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, no earned runs. He walked the batter, and he had 7 strikeouts. And our guy, Cal Quantrill, he turned in a quality start, going 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 5 walks, which he navigated around out of a couple jams, and he had 4 strikeouts. So great job by both starters today. Really kept the hitters on their toes and kept them second guessing quite frequently. Now, again, Quantrill, 5 walks, but hey, knowing the veteran he is, he navigated around it. And luckily, the weather was a little bit more tolerable today with the weather, with the sun being out and the weather being in the 60s at Coors Field. So other pitches that were hit. Seattle was scoreless all the way up until Munoz in the 10th inning gave up the walk-off winning run. But for the Rockies, Jake Bird, he went 2 scoreless innings, adding 3 strikeouts in the process. Nick Mears, he went a scoreless inning, having 1 strikeout in the run, and then Justin Lawrence coming in to handle the unfortunate part of the 10th inning with the extra ghost runner at second base. He allowed the run. It was not earned, but he had 2 strikeouts, and he got us out of it with only 1 run left on the board. So that was our pitching performances today. Now, on offense for the Rockies, of course, we were talking about yesterday, the Rockies bats just went silent in the shutout loss last night. But, of course, our offense level today. Ezequiel Tovar, he had 3 hits today. Bretton Doyle had 2 hits. Jake Cave, who was my pick to click, by the way, he had 2 hits. Bretton Doyle had a triple, and he had a very scary moment. He was hit by a pitch right here underneath his armpit here, right in the ribs. It was when you get hit there, he seemed like he was out of breath, obviously, but luckily he was able to continue in through this game. And of course, like I said, it was a pitcher's duel all the way till the 10th. So let's get started with the 9th inning. Now the setup is nobody's on. Wait, no, let me just make sure I set this up correctly yet. Let me just make sure I set this up correctly, making sure I remember everything. So, okay, so you got Okay, so there's nobody. So, of course, it's nobody on. Jacob Stallings at the plate. He digs one out to left field. The ball goes up high enough to clear the wall, but the left fielder goes up to try to attempt to make the play, and there is a fan who comes down and almost catches the ball, but it cops off and goes back into the field of play. Now, there are I had to look at a couple of different angles on social media because my interpreting of the rule, if the fan reaches out into the field of play to catch the ball, it is fan interference. However, if the player goes into the stands and reaches and tries to make a catch up in the stands, it is free for the fans to touch the ball. Now, I've watched this play a couple of times. I've tried to find a camera angle that gets a side look to see if the fan reached out just slightly over the fence, because maybe he did, but based on how high the ball was above the apex of the wall, it seemed to clear the wall just well enough to the point where also the defender, he seen when he had his glove up, he was already at the apex of his jump. It didn't seem like he was going to get up high enough to even have an opportunity to even try and catch the ball. So to me, and again, it didn't seem like the fan reached in over the wall. So to me, based on all the angles, again, I couldn't find a side angle camera. And of course, the review umpires in New York have extra angles that we can't see during a broadcast. So it didn't seem like the fan reached over the wall. I thought it was a home run. Again, like I said, maybe they had a camera angle that saw something that I couldn't see and what we didn't see. So at the end of the day, to me, from my vantage point, it looked like a home run. I've skimmed Twitter X again, trying to find a camera angle. A number of Mariners fans thought it was a home run as well. So I don't know, but I understand when you sit close to the field or even in the stands in general, a foul, catching a ball, whether it's a home run ball or a foul ball, is something you always want. I understand. And in the heat of the moment, you want it, you want to go for it, but just whenever I sit close to field, I always try to program in my brain, okay, if it's close, just try to remember to back away from it. Understandably, you want to catch a ball, whether it's when it's hitting to the stands, but try to restrain yourself to not. But at the end of the day, luckily, this did not come back to bite the Rockies because, again, when it turned over to us in the 10th, oh my goodness, we had quite a scene. So let me just go down, making sure. Okay, so our ghost runner at second base is Jacob Stallings because he ended the. Charlie Blackmon singles him over to third. Ezekiel Tovar singles on a ground ball, nothing moves up, and then Ryan McMahon, just a simple run ball hit to the left side of the infield, inside the infield. Ezekiel Tovar the second. Charlie Blackmon comes home. Game over. Luckily, Charlie Blackmon was able to leg out that infield single to be the guy to score the winning run. And we get our 5th win of the season, and the 6-game losing streak is over. Oh my goodness. You know what? You got to love offensive outbursts like this. It's fun and all. It's great to watch. It's enjoyable. But hey, a pitcher's duel, I appreciate great pitching. I would like to think any baseball traditionalist or fan in general would like a good pitcher's duel. That's what we were true to today. In the end, after the pitcher's duel was over between the starters, the Rockies were able to squeak out an additional 2 runs to walk this off. So, all in all, this was quite a win. This is quite a win today. I'm just trying to recover from this because like I said, Jacob, I'm not a fan of that ghost run in the 10th inning, but hey, Stallings was able to score. Charlie Blackmon was able to score off the bat of Ryan McMahon. So, at the end of the day, Tovar, Ryan Mack got the job done, able to drive in those 2 runs that we needed to win this ball game. So anyway, real quick, I'm just checking. If anybody during this live cast, anybody who's watching here wants to chime in on what you think. Do you think do you think the umps got it right? Do you think it was actually fan interference? Did you call it a home run? Feel free to comment here. I'm going to be on here for a few extra minutes here just talking about this because whenever I see a fan interference play, me being from Chicago, I automatically think back to the infamous Steve Bartman game 6 of the 2003 National League Championship Series between the Chicago Cubs and the eventual, now Miami Marlins, then called Florida Marlins. They went on to beat the Yankees in the World Series, of course. Fly ball hit out down the third baseline. A fan named Steve Bartman stuck his hand out, tried to catch the fly ball. Moises Alou goes up into the stands to try to catch the ball. And again, if you want, you can watch the play is all over YouTube. You want to watch out what I'm talking about. But anytime I see a fan interference play, I think back to that play being from Chicago and that being one of the most infamous fan interference, or famous or infamous, depending on how you look at it, fan interference plays of all time. It's just, I know, again, me being a big time fan, I've never caught a foul ball or a ball hit into the stands, near me in the stands. A couple have come close to me, by the way, but at the end of the day, I do think it is tough. You always want to reach out and try and catch the foul ball, but sometimes you got to try. Hopefully you can program your brain to restrain yourself and let the ball fly through. Again, we got a comment here. I'm sorry if I butchered the name here. Scripty, horrible call. I do agree with you. Again, I was trying to find an alternate, maybe a side angle view from either side of it to try and see if the fan reached out into the field. But from the camera angles that they were showing for the replay on the broadcast, it didn't seem like he reached out. The ball, again, was high enough to the point where it was going to clear the fence. And like I said, the defender looked like he was already at the apex of his jump. He didn't jump. It didn't seem like when he jumped up, his glove did not just bump into the bottom of the fan's glove. So again, I think it was a home run. Again, anybody feel free to comment. Do you think it was a home run? Do you think they got the call right? I don't, based on what I could see on the broadcast and what I found on the internet, it didn't look like a home run to me. And again, the umpires and the review crews in New York, they have quote unquote extra camera angles to allow them to make a more definitive call. Well, again, it sucks for us because again, for Jacob Stallings, he got a home run taken away from him. And we got, of course, what would have been a solo home run taken away from us. But at the end of the day, didn't matter. The Mariners ended up scoring. We ended up scoring the 2 runs needed to walk this off. First game of a doubleheader. And like I said, the losing streak of 6 games is over. the Rockies are now 5-16 on the season. It is definitely something to celebrate. Like I said, we had a lot of there were a couple of multi-hit performances today. Just talk about a couple of guys who are definitely, I've mentioned, some guys who are on a little bit of a cold streak, and Michael Toglia, he had an 0 for 3 performance. That's why, of course, Bud Black decided to pinch hit Elias Diaz for him late in the game. He had 2 strikeouts as well. Oh my God. And no, Joe, I just hope, I really, really hope that I don't want to speculate what's up with him. He went 0 for 4 today with a strikeout. His batting average is now down to 156 and his OPS is down to 508. Personally, I hope everything's okay with the guy. I hope that there's nothing going wrong. He's not injured. There's not something wrong with him, and where his mind's a little distracted or something of that nature. I hope he's okay. I mean, I don't see a reason why Bud Black would maybe take a chance here, move him down a couple spots in the lineup. But then again, he's not the only one on the team that's struggling. Brendan Rodgers now, he was 0 for 3 today. He did take a walk. His batting average is down to an even 200 on the Mendoza line, and his OPS is 508. Toglia, again, he's down to 114. Again, he's not getting regular playing time like Rodgers and Nolan Jones, but at the same time, he's down to a 538 OPS. A lot of guys are off to slow starts, and some guys are off to faster starts. And again, that is something that's to be expected, whether it's a championship team or you got a non-contending team or a rebuilding team like the Rockies kind of have. Guys are off to slow start, and again, the weather in Colorado is obviously not helping because, again, I commented about this last night. It's not being at a game that with weather like it was last night is not fun as a fan. I can't imagine how tough it is as a player. So at the end of the day, hopefully guys like Nolan Jones, Brendan Rodgers, they can kind of maybe something clicks. Just that one little thing just kind of clicks and just turns things around and gets them going. And they just kind of take off running, maybe go on a long hit streak. Who knows? But at the end of the day, so again, guys do struggle. Everybody goes through, because the great Paul O'Neill once said, you don't want everyone to be hot at the same time because then everybody gets cold at the same time. You want guys to get hot and cold in shifts. So hopefully this right now is the shift for Nolan Jones and Brendan Rodgers and to be cold. And then hopefully guys like Ezekiel Tovar, Ryan McMahon, and Brenton Doyle don't get really, really cold to the point where they go on really long droughts. But some big performances on that one. Yeah, Ezekiel Tovar, his batting average is up to 321. He has an 865 OPS. And Rymack, he is now at 333 batting average with an 871 OPS. Brenton Doyle, 289 batting average at 833 OPS. And yeah, heck, even also Jake Cave, who had 2 hits, who went 2 for 4 today. He is batting average up to a 313 with an 868 OPS. So again, some guys are struggling, some guys are not. At the end of the day, though, it's all winning all together. So it's so anyway, that's gonna do it for the recap of game 1. So game 2 is going to start in a matter of about less than 20 minutes. In about less than 20 minutes, the pitching matchups for the Seattle Mariners is Emerson Hancock, and for our Colorado Rockies, it is Peter Lambert. So we'll see how that goes real quick. I'm just going to check and see if the Rockies lineup has been released. Oops, wrong button. Just give me 1 second here. Let me see if the Rockies lineup has been released. I don't think it has, but let me check. It has been released. So wait. Oh yeah. Okay. So here's real quick. I'll give you the Rockies lineup for game number 2 of this series. Here we go. Okay. Leading off is Ezekiel Tovar. He's playing shortstop. Batting second, Brenton Doyle in center field. Batting third, Ryan McMahon at third base. Batting fourth, the cleanup spot is Elias Diaz as the catcher. Batting fifth, Brendan Rodgers at second base. And just like I said, somebody's been moved down a couple spots. Nolan Jones is batting sixth. He is in left field. Elias Montero, he is batting seventh, playing first base. Jake Cave, he is in right field, batting eighth. And the DH, Sean Bouchard, he is rounding out the lineup, batting ninth. So that is your round for game 2. That game will start in just right around 20 minutes. Real quick, let me just go over. Actually, I'll recap scores around the league and everything that happened for game 2. So anyway, that's going to do it for this recap of the Rockies' fifth win of the season and a walk-off win. This is for game one of this Sunday doubleheader. So again, game two is going to start in just about 20 minutes to first pitch. So be sure. So I'm going to be back later after that game later tonight to recap game three for another Rockies recap episode. So be sure to tune into that. So anyway, like always, please be sure to follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and our Threads page. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click subscribe, and be sure your notifications are turned on so you can join in live to these Rockies recap recordings and also our live podcast, which we'll have one coming up soon. Steven and I will let you know when that is. Either way, for that. But okay, and all for that. So anyway, that'll do it for this Rockies recap episode. So I'll be back after the end of game three, which will start in 20 minutes. So enjoy the game, everybody. And as always, enjoy game two, everyone. And as always, go Rockies.